All right, folks, been a bit since I've done videos. Usually Chris is the one that's kind of taking over this for me while I do some paperwork, but I just got back from Hawaii, and not bragging or anything, but well-needed vacation. We do those once a year, and we always do them in our busy time of year, and everybody always asks me that. Why do you do them in your busy time of year? Well, about April is usually when I'm pulling my hair out. It's tax season. It's about 2 months before we get out of our busy time of year. Our busy season runs January to usually about June, July. We'll slow down August, September, sometimes all the way up into November. When I say slow down, it's really not much of a slowdown, but it's a little bit of a breath. Those months don't bother me. I can grind through them and usually get caught up. But and these don't either. I love them, but they are definitely hard on the family. So it's time I take out for them. And almost every year we go to Hawaii. If you've never been, I highly recommend it. Go to Big Island. That's the only island you really need to go to if you've never been out there. It's extremely affordable to go. I mean, no joke, round trip tickets out of Vegas, direct flights. You don't have to do layovers. If you can get yourself to Vegas, of course. Obviously, you have to figure out if you can get there. And I'm not trying to sell you on anything, but I just do feel absolutely refreshed and whatnot. So, got back last night. We actually extended it a little bit. Went and seen Pearl Harbor. Man, that was gut-wrenching. And even my 3-year-old, it was just, you could just feel it. He could feel it. We went out to USS Arizona, and yeah, it was, that was something I'd never done in my life, and I'd highly recommend that as well. And my grandfather fought in the Pacific, so it was, it was emotional, but it was good, to see and be with family mainly. So, okay. I'll do a couple things in this video. We have several tubs lined up here. Most of these are spoken for, minus the 2 here, and they are slightly different, so I'm going to go over those. But the white one has sold. We had that's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, fully paid out, although I do need to double check that they're getting the tailgate and stuff, because I don't believe that normally don't include those unless they bought them. So check on that. We have, let's see, this is a Laredo tub. This one I believe sold YJ, beautiful tub. This one I think is going to go out tomorrow. And then I'm pretty sure this one's gone. This is another YJ tub. These things go really quick if you haven't figured that out. We've been doing this for 18 years. And then this is our last CJ7 tub, which I'm almost positive this is actually one we're doing here at the shop. It's already been paid for. But I will double check on that just in case. It's always good to call us, 303-666-9020. Our website is going to be changing here, folks. So this is going to be a little bit of an update, a little bit of tubs, a little bit of fun, and I'm going to go back and start cranking. Flew into Vegas yesterday, drove all the way through the night so I could be back 6 hours back to Junction. Not too bad, but was a little tired from the flight. Left my wife and kiddos back in Vegas with her sister. They'll fly home tonight. Nice, easy 45-minute flight for them. I wanted to get back so I could actually get caught up, because customers are going, what the heck is going on? And they do it every year. I call them, tell them on vacation. Everybody's really cool about it, so appreciate that. Always the love and support from you guys is amazing. And this will probably be the happiest video of the year, just because I've just come back from vacation. So you'll hear some laughter, maybe even some jokes. Who knows? We'll see. But I'll give you a little bit update on what we're doing. Some site updates that we're having done now, so bear with us. There's some weird payment things when you go to click pay on some of our products right now. It's doing some bizarre stuff. If you hit that pay button and it doesn't do anything, don't hit it again, okay? It is submitting orders. If you hit it again, you'll get another order of the same product. Not funny, I know, but people have been it hasn't been happening all the time. It happened a couple times. So obviously when you spend, $250,000 on a website over the last 3 or 4 years, not something you want happening. If it was before my trip, I was screaming in the phone. Now it is what it is, and we'll get to it. And I know I trust our web guys. They'll do a good job for us, but we do need to get that fixed. So if you do check out on the website, again, when you're getting all the way to the end, you hit that pay button, just hit it once, and then wait a few seconds or minutes, and then hit the back button, and it should send you to you've paid. If it doesn't, call me, and I will start screaming, yelling at our web guys, because they assured me that it will at least do that. It's just not, for whatever reason, saying it was successful. So What else? It is April 29th, 2024. I always like to date our videos. Been doing this long enough, we can do that. And if we don't do that, it confuses people, especially 10 years down the road. Almost all the tubs we brought in from Cali have sold. That's what a lot of these were, minus the 2 yellow ones. We got those here. And then you can see our Wrangler line if you looked at videos or photos from before I left 2 weeks ago. That line from there, and most of those down there are either not great tubs or we've kind of parted them to where they can part. But from about that guy there, and even a couple of those in there, all the way out was completely full locked. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So in 2 weeks that I've been gone, we have 4 that just complete tear downs and are gone. Tub, frame, everything. So always proud of that. We'll see in the new guy. I'm gonna have to teach him something, but it is good that he's doing it on this tub, because this tub we bought from another yard, this whole Jeep. And a couple things I can tell right now. Matter of fact, I'm gonna walk up to him because I know he's got it in high, which is a big no-no in my yard. And I know that because I can hear the brakes. So the low gear, you don't need brakes. So, and then the other thing is the tilt. We'll talk to him and see. I got you on camera, just so you know. I got you on camera. So this thing has to stay in low all the time. So go ahead and put it in neutral. Put your gear over there. Yep. Put that in neutral, okay? And then shift that forward.
Okay.
All the way forward. There you go. And then don't ever let it come out of neutral. It moves, it's too old a machine. And if you're in high, it's gonna bounce you all over the place. Plus it's really hard on this thing. And these brakes don't work very good. And you're gonna be riding the brakes until they lock up. So,
yeah, I didn't know it had more gears. You told me about the idle knocking it down.
Yeah. So that should give you that. And then the last thing is, and this tub is perfect because it's a junk tub, but if you ever pick a keep up, make sure that you're leveled out. Because it's okay on this one because, like I said, this one's been cut before we got it. And this one's not bad, but if you do this and you hit a bump and it slides, you're gonna cream the side of the Jeep. So and this is a great one to practice on, especially your leveling, because it's a little bit off balance. I usually, and I know Jerry is, he wants to make sure the yard, and I love that about him. But for me, I usually just yank him. I grab him from the front, especially if the engine's up front and the rest of it's out of there.
Okay.
And if you're not super confident, just throw chains on them.
Right.
And then they're easier to get through things because now you're going to be real wide going up through there. That's okay, but just be careful when you go by the Ford,
Right.
Specifically the expensive Cummins Ford. So, all right, man. Anyway, so things that are changing on our website besides the payment function that's not working correctly, we're getting that fixed. But these are actually something we're doing. This is going to be about a 6-month project for us. I've been building on this website, or websites in general, for literally as long as I've been doing this, because I felt like in the beginning that the key to a junkyard, salvage yard, parts yard, whatever you want to call it, breakers, is to be somewhat tech without being over tech. Now, over tech we tried and it doesn't work. You still have to have that whole saying, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. If you create too much tech, we basically found out that it bottlenecks things, especially for the type of personnel that you hire out here. And that's not to discredit anybody, but you're not hiring IT guys to dismantle vehicles. And I ran it that way for a long time, thinking we could train that, and it's really an acquired, it's like the kids today are, my niece and nephew is 20 years old. They know way more about stuff than I do. So we're going to take a little bit of tech out of the site and you're probably not going to notice it on anything on that side. It's more the back office stuff. But you are going to see some changes, and actually right now going forward, you're going to see them drastically. Our site is going to slim down a little bit. We're a little bit fat. We're going to trim the fat off. We are no longer going to, in the beginning, my whole goal when I first started Jeeps, or Highline 4x4, this is back in 2007, 8, somewhere in there. And then Jeeps Unlimited 14 when we bought them, and then again we changed the name. So kept the parent company Jeeps Unlimited in 2018. Parts Breakers, that's what you know us now for. Still all active LFC, still all good companies. Just Jeep had a Fiat, I shouldn't say Jeep, Fiat had a little bit of an issue with us using the name on a national level. So instead of fighting the David and Goliath fight that I had been fighting, I just said, you know, we can put resources and money elsewhere. So I did that. But anyway, back in those years, I really felt like, and I see it in all these young guys that we work with a lot of yards, a lot of small yards, a lot of guys in their backyard. So if you happen to be one of those guys that's selling Jeep parts out of your backyard, we are not your enemy. I never have ever not wanted to work with other yards. I've always enjoyed that. It's obviously got to be mutual benefiting for both of us. Usually for you, we're buying parts that maybe you are not selling, and for us, we're getting parts that we don't have, or we sell too quick. So, and we pay prices that you want. I mean, if it's too high, I won't tell you. No, you know, I'm not going to try to negotiate you down. I just tell you it won't work, and you know, someday it may. But I just have always felt like that's the best way to go about things, and it's worked well for this model. So if you happen to be out there now, one of the big things for us is rust-free. So you got to be, at least if you're on the East Coast, you got to be at least buying stuff out of the West Coast, and that's obviously a lot more expensive for a lot of you guys that don't end up doing that out there. You can get Jeeps out East, guys, for literally nothing, and part of the problem is they are literally nothing left. There's good engines a lot of times in them, but they are going to be ugly engines, drivetrain components. The harness at ECM's awesome. They're fantastic shape. Sometimes they're the best shape ever, but everything else on them sucks. So keep that in mind. We will not buy rusty parts. I won't even make you ship it to me and try to do it. It's just, you know, and we won't buy painted rusty parts. We are adamant. We go through, we scope our frames, we measure our frames, we clean, we steam them. We do not doctor them any other way. We don't paint them unless somebody wants to paint them before they're shipped, but you'll be able to see them in the unmolested, bare, natural state that they are in as they come off or as we get them in. I picked up a little cold out there in Hawaii. Of course, that's what happens when you go on vacation. So back to the website, and I'll get to these tubs. I appreciate your patience. If you're waiting for those, I'll tell you when to watch this video so you don't have to watch this whole thing. But the website, back in the day, like I said, I was really gung-ho. My youthfulness said, you know what, I want to be the guy out there that does it like a dealership or like Napa. I want to sell every single part under a Jeep. Well, that's great, but what I learned, and what everybody that was a lot older and wiser told me, is that it's almost impossible to manage inventory, let alone manage all inventory in a used junkyard or any used inventory, because you're not getting a steady stream of, you know, this product's out of stock, so I'm going to order just that product in. You have to buy a whole Jeep in a lot of cases, or buy them from other yards. Regardless, it's difficult to do it that way. And so what happens is you backlog your website, which has costed a buttload of money over the years trying to figure this out, why this happened, because you'll get product in that you may never get again, or you get product conditions in that are so greatly different that you have to end up listing them all, which is why eBay works really well for a lot of people. We used to be on eBay, and when we had a lot of steam and a lot of youth, we were rocking. Matter of fact, we were probably the only ones on there that this is before you go on now and see hundreds of people on there that did it in the way we did it, with the feedback we got, which was always 100%. And you know, I was just tired of paying 30%. It was a lot of money, and that's all there is to it. eBay serves a really, really good reality and function for people, especially people doing it in their backyards. And so I always encourage it, especially in the beginning. And the fees ultimately are not that expensive when you're doing it out in your backyard. But for a established yard, a full production yard, as we like to consider ourselves, 30% is a gigantic cut. Okay, so that's why we don't do eBay. But it also is extremely difficult to maintain and manage eBay, because they don't do much with inventory. So you have to come up with your own inventory system, which we did develop. And what we figured out after 10 years of my tech guys and our marketing guys telling me, Jeremy, you cannot do 10,000 products. And I said, well, why not? Because you don't manage 10,000 products very well. And they're right. And every time I tried to slim our inventory down, I really did feel like I was picking my favorite child. Every time I try to do it, I failed at it. So we finally came around this last go around, and it's always around this time of year. And I put my head down in the dirt, started grinding out, and came up with what we consider an inventoried items and non-inventoried items. If you ever work with an accounting software and you ever sell products, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because they do both for that reason. So what does that mean? Well, a couple things. One, on our website, when you call us, if you don't see the product listed on our website, that's exactly what you need to do, is call us. 303-666-9020. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Do not feel bad. Do not feel like you're inconveniencing us. It is not that way at all. Do pick up the phone and call us, whether it be a bolt, whether it be a harness, whether it be a plug, whatever, okay? We may tell you it's not something we can get to right away. Sometimes bolts are that way. Sometimes pigtails are that way. But other times we go, oh, they're sitting right here. We can throw, a couple bucks or whatever, send those out to them. The little parts aren't, I mean, that's kind of a no. So like a shackle, for example, on a YJ, you can get those new. That's probably not a part we're going to offer on our website anymore. Okay, you can buy it new from Crown, and sometimes Crown parts suck, but sometimes they're fine. That part happens to be one of their parts that are fine. You can buy them for pretty cheap. So for us to keep an active inventory on a product that we can actually drop ship you quicker than we can pull those damn things, because they're not easy to pull. Sometimes they come out really easy. Sometimes you work on them for an hour, over $8. You see what I'm saying? This doesn't make it worth it. So those items are going to be removed off the website here in the next few months, and you're going to stop seeing as much product. So for the folks out there who are looking for the hard gems to find in the Jeep world, you're going to be able to find those a lot easier on our website, because we're going to go after those specifically, as we've always done, but we're going to do it on a level that's a lot more manageable. So we're looking to slim the 10,000 products we have in our active inventory right now down to about 1,500, and ultimately hopefully be around the 750 range. Now that probably won't happen for a while, because that's going to have an organic. We did have a little tech built for that, and basically our website, between our phone sales and our web sales, will populate lists every month that say, hey, you haven't had any sales on these, we should lower the price and see if there's a better price point for them. If there's a price point that's better on them, to where they still, the cost of removing them or whatnot, whatever it may be, doesn't negate the cost of the item, then we'll go down on them. If it does negate it, then they get blown off into the wind, and they become an item that you may still need. You'll just have to call us and ask us for specifically next time, okay? So that's that. Now, inventory items, what does that include? Inventory items are going to be items that don't change, okay? So engine brackets, let's see, there's a lot of them, don't worry. Axle shafts, I mean, we're talking wearable possibly, but not something that's going to change, let's say, in color, or wheels that could be, graded differently, tubs, frames. So those parts are actually going to be listed still on our site, but on a different part of our site, and we're going to do it as a feed, which you probably have no idea what that means, but it will be somewhat still feasible to go see that stuff. We will always give you videos of everything we sell you, especially the big parts, frames and tubs. As far as, anything else, you can always request a video if we have time, and it's something we've done them on before. We can do that for you. So they will go, and this is cool because I'm losing a little steam here, but it will be, all vehicles will come in this way, so you'll be able to see our active inventory, what's just come in. There's something on it like a roof rack or a wheel you like, or a bumper, you'll be able to go, hey, I want that. And that'll save my guys a huge headache trying to figure out, well, what do we list today? What do we focus on? So, okay. So non-inventoried items are still going to be manage, but in a slightly different way and a different form and a little bit of a fun way to do it because there'll be some interaction. Customers always send us photos of their rigs if they get them done, especially buying tubs and frames from us. So this will be a way they can post those quickly, and other people can comment, oh, how'd you do this, and what'd you do for this, and what products used on, you know, proofing, rust proofing, and blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of neat. We're super excited about that. Okay, so inventoried items. I did build a list out, and there is about 15, maybe 1,600 that are like parts that we get requested all the time. And you know, engines will be an inventoried item. They will be broke down a little bit by mileages, so there'll be, and every part will have, so a frame will have, there'll be a parent. This is going to be confusing, so I'm not going to get too much in this, but like a parent frame, and then it'll basically show, hey, check this page out to view all the frames that we currently have, and then you can give us a call, say, hey, I like frame A or whatever. Okay, it's pretty simple. If you're super confused about that, don't worry, just call us. Okay, phone is a medium that I thought someday, way back in the day when I first started this, that we could get completely away from. And what I've learned is all the magic happens on the phones. That's where we put together the deals. That's where we get to interact with our customers. That's where we get to know our customers. And frankly, I don't really want to own a company ever, no matter what company it is, where I can't talk to a customer directly, whether I'm the owner or step down someday. I think it's vital in the world we live in when everybody has to call some 1-800 number and talk to God only knows who or what country sometimes. Nothing against that. I know why they do it, but at the end of the day, not one of us jumps over the moon with excitement saying, God, I'm so excited. I get to talk to this guy in Texas when I'm in New York or whatever, you know, or vice versa. And I'm not even picking on the Texas and New York guys. I'm actually talking about the overseas ones that are really hard to understand sometimes. And, you know, they're trying to make a living, so I'm not going to get into all that. But at the end of the day, I am not going to be the company that does that. We've actually talked about outsourcing our phones. It will not happen. This is my promise to everyone out there. It will be myself or Chris Hubbs, who is a great sales guy. He's one of my main guys out here, or Kevin or Jerry, or I will put my son Tommy, my 3-year-old, on the phone before I outsource our call center. Okay? All right. So we got some really good YJs coming in. We have started our repair facility again. Actually started about a year ago. We're building another garage. That's on another front. And it's going to be strictly for repair and restoration. We do not do body work. We will never do body work. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot of good body guys, so I can't really tell you that, but we can replace a tub for you. We have gotten several people in the last few weeks that have shipping us, in actually the past year, their entire Jeeps, so we can do projects for them. Our hourly rate is still $85 an hour. Now, it may be the same amount by the time it all comes down to it with quotes, and I'm not saying it's going to be, but we do know exactly what it takes, so this is the hours that it usually takes for this. The only ones that are a little hard to manage is ones that we get from the East Coast when we're not doing, let's say if we're only doing a tub or we're only doing a frame, we can tell and warn the customer, hey, look, you're likely going to need this. But a lot of times they go, well, I don't think so. We'll just start with this. Okay, that's fine. But if we get in there, torch time is extremely expensive. I have to bring somebody in to do it. So, and the reason we do that is because if you have one of my guys do it, well, Jerry's great at it, but he's the only one. If you have one of my other guys do it, you'll spend way more in torch time than you would just replace the tub. So we bring somebody in that's really good with that stuff and has been on the East Coast his entire life, just recently moved out here. So so we got YJs coming in. We may have another TJ coming in. I know the hard tops are always a big deal. I do have a nice YJ hard top, a nice set of doors. Actually, 2 hard tops for YJs, 2 sets of doors. So look for those at the end of the week. Again, there's not going to be really a place to see those other than just videos for now until the site gets finished. We have a Renegade that we'll be putting back together. It's a YJ Renegade, the big blown fenders. We did one of those a couple years ago. We'll have that one for sale here probably, I don't know, by the end of the year, hopefully, maybe sooner, depending if we get somebody that wants it before. I'll get some photos posted of that. Folks, just so you know, for those of you who don't know, it is way, 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 way more lucrative to part a Jeep out than it is to restore one. So when we do restoration, and it's not full restoration by no means, I mean, we don't do paint, okay, we don't pull dents. That stuff we will send down the road either back to you and you can find somebody who does it, or if it needed, you know. But when we do the frame and tub swaps that we do here, and drivetrains and engines, and we do rebuild engines, we do those all in-house. I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, I know I was going with that. It's way, 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 way more. We get way more out of that Jeep right there, at least right now. Now this is definitely changing. The TJ market specifically, and even a little bit of the YJ market, is drastically shifting. These are gotten old enough now that they're getting hard enough to get, and we actually have one in the garage right now we're going to try it on. But if we can get about what we can get out of selling them whole and fixing whatever may be wrong, that one had a bad engine in it with low miles, automatic, it'll be available here in a few weeks, rust-free, beautiful, came out of Vegas. If we can do that, then yeah, you're going to see a lot less parts out of this yard. That's not my end goal. I do love doing that stuff. I think everybody does. I think all of us like to, like to build things more than we like to take it apart. Taking apart thing is fun for a while, and then it gets really boring. That's not why we do it, obviously. We love doing it. But at the end of the day, if the market changes enough where a TJ is now parting or selling whole for double the cost that it's parting, and they part out for a lot, yeah, you'll see it. So I'm telling you that for a couple reasons. One is, I've said this for years, that we will run out of these things for parts, and they're getting harder and harder to get. They are. But now the market's shifting enough that we may even start keeping a couple of them whole and fixing them, and then that's going to change the market. And I've already seen other big yards doing this too. So if you're planning on building one, if you're in the next 6 months, you're probably fine. Next year, you're probably fine. But I'm telling you, a couple years down the road, if you have an inkling that you're doing one right now and you probably want to do another one later, grab the tub, grab the frame, grab the axle, whatever it is you're going to think you're going to need, grab it now. A couple years down the road, we may not even exist anymore. And that's the reality. And it may be from building them. It may be from not being able to get them. So, I hope that's not the case. There'll always be something, but you have to go into JK's, the modern stuff, if you're going to stay in business. There's no doubt in my mind that's where this yard will end up if we stay in it. And I really, really, I have no problem with JK's. They're cool. They're awesome. They serve a really good purpose, but I don't want to part them out on a full scale. I've done a few of them. I hate doing them. They're massive. They don't come apart like these. These things come apart like Legos. JK's are totally different animals. They have BCMs and ECMs and you name it, electronic crap in them that sucks to work with. So, I say that now, and you watch, mark my words, I'll be eating those words here in a few years. So, okay, 30 minutes of updates. That's about it for now. Let's jump. You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to make its own video. This one I'll just put up as updates. I don't think I missed anything. Got a TJ maybe coming in. Definitely have some YJs. We'll go that back over. Grand Cherokees, that stuff. We always have those things in. You can see there's a yard full of them. We're slowly getting the back cleaned up over there. Again, we do this, it seems like, every year, and this is part of the insanity, definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and expecting different results. But that inventory thing I'm telling you guys that I was just talking about a little bit ago, it's going to solve that problem too, because right now we're trying to manage, and that's what we learned is why is this fail? I mean, we get them all up, our sales are just blowout, amazing, any business that could do the numbers we do when our inventory is absolutely perfect, but you lose employees, the staff rate, turnover rate's always high in this industry, and then you get behind, and then all of a sudden you have this problem, which is you have wheels everywhere, you have transmissions, and these all got brought out so we could do inventory on them, and they haven't got put back, and drive shafts, and it's actually fairly, for a junkyard, this is probably one of the cleanest junkyards you'll ever see, especially for a Jeep junkyard. And you can almost walk in this yard and build a Jeep from loose parts sitting around here as long as they haven't sold. Now, with that said, managing this many parts on a shelf with a SKU on a website is astronomically challenging. And it's like that old saying, it's for the youth or whatever they say, that for the kids. It's not, I think it's even easy for that, because I've struggled with this forever. But the more room you have, guess what? That's not going to help, because that's what we did. We thought the more room we'll have, this will make it easier. Not right. It's actually more difficult with more room, because when you have less room, you have less space. You have to be more, out here. So I'll put it in the back. We'll get to it. It never gets to it. So, our containers, which are a little bleak right now because we emptied a lot of these. These things are filled. Okay. So these will be inventoried parts, transfer cases, linkages, brackets. These are all inventoried, or will be. They are probably not accurately updated right now. A lot of non-inventoried items are going to be in this section because they're color specific, condition specific, A, B, C kind of thing. A lot of inventoried items back in here again, climate controls, head units, turn signals, things that, they may have a condition, but overall they're in the same shape, or, as good or better is what we like to call it. E-brakes, bezels, airbags, obviously not deployed stuff that hasn't been wrecked, and it's still messy, but better, fuel tanks, hoods, those are non-inventoried items. These will be inventoried items. So anyway, you get the gist of it. There's a lot of parts, a lot going on. I get my butt back up there. Jerry's probably wondering what I'm doing. Told him I'd help him out. So lots of cool changes. In some ways, I think that will reinvigorate my spirit, because it does. You get to a point where you're just like pulling your hair out, thinking. But you're paying. I never missed a paycheck in 18 years doing this for my guys. There's a lot of stuff to be proud of out here. My guys all make more than most people make in this valley, and I'm proud of that. We offer benefits for them. That's pretty amazing. That was, not really by choice, although we always wanted to do it, but the state kind of came down on us for that, or came down on everybody for that, and it is expensive. Not a lot of left on that apple, but we live on our property. We raise our kids here. We live in a great place. We dirt bike and 4-wheel right out the backyard. We don't have to deal with traffic. The air is clean. I'm struggling a little bit because I've been at low elevation, but it's not a bad gig, and I own the land. I mean, I can, if nothing else, we could sell it and go off in the sunset someday, or someday soon, someday late, who knows, but we have 7 acres. We have a lot of options. So our cores back here, we've been crazy for years. We just sat on cores. Now we're building almost all of them. So there's that red one we just got done. Look at this thing. All right, so again, partsbreakers.com, Jeeps Unlimited. That's the shebang parent company. Partsbreakers.com is what we're known for. And now that one I bought out of Vegas. It had, I think, about 130K. The guy blew the motor. It was you wonder why it blew the motor. Well, that year, the 2001s had a bad engine, or a bad head in them. They were casted in Mexico. And if you have a 2001 and haven't had that issue, and this is on Cherokee XJs and TJs, you need to be very aware of that, because it's very common on those. So keep that in mind. That was we replaced it with an 04 motor, so it's got an 04 low mileage engine in it. This is one we're doing a frame and tub swap on. Haven't got much done on that one, but we're gonna have that one started here soon. This is a customer's vehicle. So this one will be available for sale. Probably gonna peel the doors off of her before she goes, but we'll see. Some people want tops and doors, and other people are just gonna be cruising around the beach. So it's got an automatic. That's super rare. So I think he's just trying to fine tune it right now. We still got to put a couple interior pieces back into it. Get some of the stuff looked at on it. 165. I don't believe this is the right gauge, but I'll double check on that. I could be wrong. Maybe it's 165. I have the paperwork when we bought it, but I think did that gauge cluster get pulled, Jerry? Is that what happened? They pulled that gauge cluster, didn't they? No, the one that was in it was only 132. I bet they sold it and they swapped it, thinking that nobody would notice. But
I wonder if the ECM got stolen.
well, it's stored in the odometer on these. And I remember when they were looking for that, and I bet you anything that the correct ECM, that one is probably in the back. When Kevin was looking, he was looking at plugs. I bet they confused them and just threw that one in it, not knowing. But anyway, so Jeremy again, 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. You can always email me, Jeremy at partsbreakers. Look, we even got a crusher, a loader. We got it all. So, okay. We got some 5.0 Mustang stuff that just came in too. Have a great day. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And have a good May.